semifinal that you could argue feels like a final. Semifinal Saturday at the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament, and what a matchup in store. The number 4 seed and the number 1 seed, they just happen to be two of the sport's premier programs, with two of the sport's most successful yet charismatic and polarizing coaches. LSU and South Carolina were new acquaintances one more time. The Tigers getting another crack at a Gamecock team that they have not beaten since 2012. Two coaches with combined 7 championships, talent, and award winners all over the floor. This sort of be like a heavyweight fight in this first SEC semifinal. Ready to go in Greenville. Seth Eaves with you here. Thank you so much for being with us. We even saved you the best seat in the house. South Carolina wins the tip. This is Raven Johnson now over to Tessa Johnson. Tessa Johnson now on the left wing. Tessa Johnson with the move. Tessa inside to Ocott. Medina Ocott inside. Missed the bunny. Second bite of the cherry. Ocott couldn't get that to go. Ocott's got it again. Kicks it back out. This is Tanaya Latson with it. Latson inside to Ocott. And Ocott scores. First points of the game to South Carolina. This should be one heck of an atmosphere with these two fan bases too. Both teams comfortable winners yesterday in the quarter. South Carolina beat Kentucky. LSU went for 112 against Oklahoma. Flau'jae Johnson misses her first jumper. She hit the 2,000-point mark for her career yesterday in that game. South Carolina on the run. Here is Ocott on the left block. Latson's jumper, too strong. Rebound by Zakiya Johnson. LSU now with it on the right side on the move. Here is a jump shot. Williams misses the jump shot at the free throw line. Latson with a rebound for Carolina. Here come the Gamecocks with Latson going inside to Edwards. Oh, great pass to Ocott, but Ocott traveled. A traveling violation. Who can guard Tessa? That's the chant among South Carolina fans. Of course, that was a famous of course, Kim Mulkey had some words to say about Tessa Johnson, which prompted that particular quote. Kayla Williams now here to Zakiya Johnson. Williams bounce pass. Johnson, 15-footer. Oh, my word. Way off the mark. And Tessa Johnson with a save. South Carolina now going the other way. Driving inside. It's Latson, and it's 2 more for Latson. And a 4-0 start for South Carolina. Latson. Here's Jada Richard. Richard, a silky smooth jumper. LSU off the mark for the day on the jumper from Latson. Raven Johnson now playing over to Tessa. Now it's Ocott. Ocott double teamed inside. Throws it up. No good. Rebound LSU Joyner. Now here's Flau'jae Johnson. Here's Flau'jae. Spinning around. Flau'jae Johnson off the window. No. But she's fast. Go to the charity stripe. 67% free throw shooter is Flau'jae Johnson, the rap queen of this LSU team. Senior from Savannah, Georgia. As we mentioned yesterday, 21 in the quarters against Oklahoma, a performance that saw her reach 2,000 points for her career. First free throw, good. Second free throw is also good. And it's a 4-4 game. Raven Johnson with the ball for South Carolina. Just blows by. Oh, they left too much space, and Raven Johnson just blew past the LSU defense for a layup. 6-4 Gamecocks. Johnson inside. No. Flau'jae Johnson, but she misses. However, she'll go back to the free throw line. Again, 67% on the year is Flau'jae Johnson at the charity stripe. 6-4 lead for South Carolina if you're just joining us here on the stream. Seth Eaves with you here. Thank you for hanging out with us. College basketball in full stream. Big day of action Here is Johnson and makes the first free throw. Flau'jae Johnson, her last 6 games, just 50 to 29 at the foul line, including 2 of 6. When LSU lost that game on Valentine's Day, where they just could not buy a three-pointer either. Johnson hits them both. It's a 6-6 game. Here's Raven Johnson, now Edwards. Tessa Johnson on the drive, into the paint, off the window. No good. Rebound LSU, Grace Knox. Knox up ahead to Flau'jae Johnson. Tried to hit the Euro step, but lost the basketball. Raven Johnson up ahead. Latson blew the layup, but a foul. World Feed now showing us that games. LSU was down 1 with 45 seconds left in Baton Rouge, and Johnson could not make either free throw. And the emotion was big on her. She knew she had cost him a chance to finally get over the hump against their nemesis. Her free throw, good. 7-6 South Carolina. Second free throw, good. 8-6 South Carolina. Here's Johnson. Pass way too high for Williams, out of bounds. Referees, boy, do they have their work cut out for them today. I'm not talking about the game itself. I'm talking about having to deal with the coaches. Here's Malaysia Fawiley, the South Carolina transfer. 6 points, 1 of 8 shooting in that game on the 14th. But she's averaged 21 points and 48% from the field in the 5 games since, and had a dynamite 23-point game against OU yesterday. Latson. Here is Edwards. Raven Johnson for 3. No. Tapped around. Rebound LSU. Joyner. Williams jumper, and it is no good. Rebound South Carolina. And Tessa Johnson, or Raven Johnson, I'm sorry, inside. And the Gamecock Nation rising as one, making a lot of noise. LSU with a 3 right away. That didn't go. Joyner. Knox, now over to Richard. Here's Fawiley now on the right wing. Fawiley, jump shot off the glass, good. And Fawiley has 2 points to cut it 2-2. Now here is Latson for South Carolina. Latson off the window. Mulkey wanted a push-off offensive foul. None was given. Latson with the lay-in off the glass. 12-8. Fawiley blows by at the other end, though. And 2 more for Fawiley, so 4 straight points for her. 2-point South Carolina lead nearing the halfway point of the first quarter. Edwards. Now Tessa Johnson. 14 to shoot, and Johnson. Ball slipped out of her hand, but was she fouled before then? I think she might have been. So, Latson to the bench. Raven Johnson having trouble getting inbounded. Now it's Tessa Johnson. Blocked from behind. Grace Knox says not in here. Her 20th block of the season. So here's the inbounds pass to Tessa Johnson. Now it's Raven Johnson. Gets it back to Maddie McDaniel. Raven Johnson. McDaniel, left wing 3. No good. Joyner. Rebound, LSU. Richard. Now Flau'jae Johnson on the right wing. Stops. Now she moves again. Here is Johnson inside. Knox. Good finish by Knox. And we're even at 12. Nice with Knox with a 9-point game yesterday against the Sooners. Game tied at 12 of the first quarter. Here is McDaniel. Now Edwards. Johnson. Trying to go inside to Edwards. Edwards blocked by Knox. Dowda got it back. Now a held ball. The arrow favors Louisiana State. And so that'll take us to our break. 4:07 to play in the first. Good start to this one in Greenville. 12 apiece. The SEC Women's Basketball Tournament. Watchalong. $12 apiece with 4:07 to play in the opening quarter. LSU and South Carolina. South Carolina, of course, a team that has just ruled this tournament the last decade, winning a bunch of championships. They won it last year. They've won each the last 3 championships. Also have won 5 of the last 6. And trying to get to the championship again. The last time that South Carolina did not make the championship in this tournament was back in 2019. Translation, it's been a while. Under 4 minutes to play in the first. Shot inside, no good. Joyner got it back. And a whistle and a foul. So a 12-12 game here. And if you're just joining us, this is SEC Women's Basketball Semifinal Watchalong, LSU, South Carolina. Joyner at the foul line. That foul play on Ocott, that's her second. Joyner misses the first. Joyner, a 68% free throw shooter on the year. A 6'2" senior forward from Farmville, North Carolina. Farmville Central High School. Second free throw, good. And LSU has the lead, 13-12. For God's sake, do we really need to replay the foul while play's going on here? Actually, there was no play going on there. Okay, well, that's just me. Here is Raven Johnson now for South Carolina. Now McDaniel, top of the key, works it. McDaniel now meanders left. Now McDaniel on a drive in the trees with 2 on her. No good. Loose ball. LSU has it with Grace Knox. Richard. Here's Wiley driving. No. Knox got it, but fell out of bounds. So it'll go back to South Carolina. So, back we go the other way. 13-12, the LSU lead. Here's Latson. Latson spinning. Latson in trouble. Poked. Foul on LSU. LSU bench wanted to travel. They didn't get it. First free throw for Latson is good. Another one coming. Latson, an 80% free throw shooter on the year. Makes the second as well, does the Miami native. South Carolina now leads by a score of 14-13. LSU three-point attempt, no good, but good job by Flau'jae Johnson chasing it down. Johnson on the move. Johnson attacks, misses. Rebound, South Carolina with Edwards. Up ahead, it's Raven Johnson. Raven Johnson now over to Latson. Latson with 19 to shoot. Latson back to McDaniel. Now Latson on the right wing. Looks for help. Has McDaniel. McDaniel, couple of steps. Now Latson, 10 to shoot. Raven Johnson, timer at 8. Raven Johnson for 3. It's good. Straightaway 3 with a shot clock winding down for Raven Johnson. And South Carolina's lead is now at 4. Flau'jae Johnson the other way and lays it in. Boy, she is some kind of player. She can beat you with that Euro and that first step and that next step too. Shifty as can be. Latson. Turnaround. Good for Latson. So 2 more for her. And a 19-15 game. South Carolina leading less than 2 minutes to play in the first quarter. Richard with the basketball. Richard on a drive. No good. Richard does get it back, though. 90 seconds to play in the first. Here is Wiley. Wiley nearly had it stolen. Wiley, 4 seconds left with 3. 2 seconds. Wiley's got to put it up with 1. Fires. No, off the top of the rim. Shot clock violation. The fact that it's Wiley and she's a little upset with Amia Joyner right now. Oh, boy. Oh, we thought we would see some... Wow. Well, we thought we would see some tempers in this game and some emotion. I didn't think we would see it with 2 players on the same team. But Amia Joyner was none pleased. Or Malaysia Wiley was none pleased. And that looked like more than just a serious disagreement. Boy, you don't want to have that when you're playing South Carolina. Talk about a mental advantage a team already has on you, and that's not helping the cause. Into the final minute of the quarter. Tessa Johnson. Pass is picked off by Wiley. Wiley. Bounce pass. Too strong for Williams. And another LSU turnover. Maddie McDaniel for South Carolina. McDaniel Drives. Now finds McKeer. McKeer, like an offensive foul. They didn't call it. McDaniel drives in traffic. No extra pass. Edwards, though. And Edwards puts it in. 2 for Joyce Edwards. Inside of 30 seconds to go. Flau'jae Johnson now on the left wing. Now it's Richard. 14 seconds to go in the first quarter. Richard still has it, being guarded very closely by a McKeer. 6 seconds. Richard with 4. Richard with 3. Attacks. Richard lays it in. And that's how the first quarter will end. Jada Richard doing it all by herself. We've played 10 minutes in Greenville. Good one here so far. Carolina 21, LSU 17. It's the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament Watchalong. (21-17). South Carolina with the edge after 10 minutes of play in this SEC Women's Semifinal. Raven Johnson 7, Tanaya Latson 10. 4 points tied for LSU's largest first quarter deficit this year. Latson's first 10-point quarter since January 25th. 4-point South Carolina lead. McDaniel, now it's Edwards, lost it over to Latson. Latson on a drive, missed off the front rim. And then Williams touched it out of bounds. .37 to play. Here's Flau'jae Johnson at the left wing, on the left wing. Johnson, kick out, Richard. Richard off the glass. 2-point game. $9:17 to go. Tessa Johnson now back to Edwards. Latzik. Tessa Johnson, 10-footer off the mark. Rebound, LSU, Williams. Williams spinning and scoring. Michaela Williams with 2 points. And this game now tied at 21. Early second quarter action here. Edwards on the attack and a foul called on LSU. Kim Mulkey. Wow, that was a hard keister slap at Michaela Williams as she came back to the bench a moment ago. Double in 3 of the last 4 games, Williams. Ever just 1 in her first 98 games. Free throw, no good. (22-21) to lead for South Carolina over LSU. Richard for Wiley. For Wiley, nice take to the basket for Wiley. And LSU takes the lead. 6 points for Wiley. Now a 3 for McKeer. That one did not go. Edwards chased the rebound, couldn't grab it. LSU now goes the other way. Richard has the basketball. Now over to Williams. Williams, 16 on the timer. Williams looks for help, gets it in the form of Johnson. Flau'jae Johnson's left wing 3. That's off the mark. Good rebound, Michaela Williams or Zakiya Johnson, but she traveled. Picked up the foot. So it goes back to South Carolina. Again, the first 2 semifinals in the SEC. Texas and Mississippi will play the other game, the championship game, tomorrow afternoon in Greenville. Another fun weekend of SEC women's basketball in Greenville. Even if I'm sure the atmospheres were good, even if yesterday's games weren't particularly exciting. And there's another South Carolina turnover. Here's for Wiley, who lays it in. And LSU up by 3, and for Wiley feeling it against her former team, the 6th Woman of the Year of the Southeastern Conference. Edwards, Johnson, McKeer flips it to McDaniel. Raven Johnson, top of the key. Now over to Edwards. Back to Raven Johnson. 5 to shoot. 3 ball. Good. Nothing but net for Raven Johnson. That 3 evens the game at 25 apiece. Good one in Greenville. Richard to the right wing. 19 to shoot. Richard now over to Williams. Williams. Inside to Zakiya Johnson. No good. Rebound Carolina. Gamecocks push forward. Edwards missed off the front of the rim. Here's for Wiley. For Wiley the other way. Misses the layup. No good, but a foul on South Carolina. So for Wiley at the line, Columbia, South Carolina native, went to Keenan High School. 76% free throw shooter. First free throw, good. Second free throw is also good. LSU up by a deuce. Raven Johnson on the left wing. Lob. Edwards. Did she save it? No, she did not. Another South Carolina turnover. Dawn Staley gives her a look as if to say, it's not great, but hang in there. We'll get this righted. Dawn would be right to think that. Anytime they do have it, the slightest bit of adversity, they usually do bounce back. They usually do have a counterpunch. Richard to Knox. Now it's for Wiley. And for Wiley lays it in. She's got 12, but the LSU lead is at 4. Raven Johnson. Now going inside. Latson missing, but a foul. Wiley has already doubled her point tally from when these teams met in February as another missed South Carolina free throw. Second free throw is good, 29-26. So for Wiley to inbound for LSU. Sixth woman of the year gets it back, inbounds it now, and now takes it across midcourt. Richard left wing back to Fawali. She is feeling it. That was a bit of a heat check there, no good. Koval got the rebound though. Fawali tries again, missed again. Rebound Williams. Fawali thought about it again, then give it to Richard. She'll pull. That one missed off the heel. Rebound Okot. Now it is Raven Johnson for South Carolina. Latson, no. Rebound Koval, and goes out, then lost it out of bounds. So 4:53 to play in the second, and Malaysia Fawali looking to make a statement in this tournament against her former team. She and LSU look good so far. They're looking to end 14 years of disappointment in this series. They're up 3 in the second. 29-26 lead for LSU with 4:53 to play in the second. Coming up at halftime, scores from across the country on a busy day of women's and men's tournament action. Malaysia for Wiley with 12 points. Lead LSU. Tanaya Latson now leading South Carolina with 11. Into Richard. As LSU has it in those purple uniforms. Here's for Wiley on the left wing. For Wiley. Over to Richard on the right wing. Richard. Now on the move. 12 to shoot. Now it is for Wiley. For Wiley. Over to Flau'jae Johnson. Now over to Michaela Williams. Williams' jump shot is in and out. Flau'jae Johnson had the rebound briefly and up ahead to Edwards. Raven Johnson. Raven Johnson with it now for South Carolina. Latson. Now it's Raven Johnson. Long two. Short off the front iron. Here comes LSU. Richard for Wiley. Tried too hard on that one. Pass picked off Edwards. Edwards now running at breakneck speed. Tessa Johnson for three. We're tied at 29. In the corner, Tessa Johnson knocks down the triple. 29 all. Flau'jae Johnson. Jumper just inside the paint. And the shot no good. Rebound, South Carolina. Tessa Johnson. Offensive foul. Looked out of control on Koval, and the referees thought so as well. So up the floor, LSU now has it. Richard now gets it to Flau'jae Johnson on the left wing. Koval now trying to work. And traveled. So a traveling violation, and it gives the ball right back to South Carolina. Kim Mulkey and Dawn Staley both feverishly coaching their teams and trying to get the best out of them. Now here's Okai. Now to Tessa. Tessa Johnson for three. It's good. Much to the chagrin of a sharp-dressed Mike the Tiger who just came into the building. 32-29 Gamecocks. Williams cross-court to Flau'jae Johnson. In and out. Williams got the rebound, though. Williams jump shot good. It's a two. LSU within one. High-level basketball in Greenville as we expected with these two teams. Latson to Edwards. Kick out. Raven Johnson all alone. Has she got another three? Not this time. And Joyner skies for the rebound. Here's for Wiley. Watch out. Misses the layup, though. Carolina the other way with Johnson. Raven, that is. Johnson of the Raven variety. Ocott missed the bunny. Latson's put back is good. Good job inside by Latson, and it's a three-point Gamecock lead. For Wiley. Now over to Flau'jae Johnson. Now back to Richard. Richard now over to Johnson. Pass inside. That's Joyner. That's two more. 1:28 to play. And we're going to have a timeout here, I believe. So a timeout taken. Raven Johnson for LSU with the basketball. 15 to shoot. Johnson missed. Rebounded by Joyner as we come out of the timeout. Now for Wiley. Oh, nice Euro step. Bella Hines into the game. For Wiley for three. Makes another one. LSU back to the lead as we near a minute to play in the second. Malaysia for Wiley in a 2-point LSU lead. Here's South Carolina driving inside. Off the mark, the shot from Latson, no, out of bounds. And it's going to be LSU basketball. Here's Richard. Joyner. Inside, and Joyner's got two more. 38-34 lead for Louisiana State. Joyner, 5 points and 7 rebounds. One second difference between game and shot clock. Edwards left block. Great pass to find a cutting Tessa Johnson. 2-point game, 5 seconds left. Down to 4. Richard with 2. Richard with 1. Pass. Joyner at the buzzer. Yes! Great pass to find Joyner. Joyner lays it in. Count the bucket. And LSU goes into the locker room with a 4-point lead. Kim Mulkey's Tigers were very much in the first game. Coulda, woulda, shoulda won the first one. They're looking to win in what you could say is a virtual road game. They're halfway there. Can they live and breathe on that prayer? 40-36, they lead. Halftime scores from across the Glen on the flip side. This is Women's College Basketball Watchalong. Well, it's been since 2012. A lot of things have happened. Okay, let's reset. A lot of things happening. All right, can we reset again? All right, 3, 2, 1. Well, 2012. A lot of things happened back then. In the year 2012, January 2012, we were about, let's see, we were roughly 9 months away from Barack Obama winning election to a second term as the president of these United States. Also, the winter of the Summer Olympics were still yet to be happening in London. Kentucky was on its way to a men's basketball championship, and Kim Mulkey won a women's championship at Baylor with a 40-0 team. Also, it's the last time LSU beat South Carolina. Could that be changing today, though? Tigers lead at 40-36 at halftime. And what more can you say about the performance of one Malaysia Fawiley? She has been in her bag as we get ready to go. So, let's fire up the scoreboard, everybody. Halftime scores. Again, we will give you a full Monty, if you will. We can do this for women's basketball. Let's start in the Big East. UConn, 31-0, opened up their conference tournament play today. And you could probably take a wild guess as to how they played against 14-16 Georgetown. It was a squeaker. 84-39. The Huskies rolled past the Hoyas in that game. Although I'm sure Gino will find something to be mad about. UConn was outscored by 2 in the fourth quarter. What a terrible team. Get them out of that number 1 ranking. Next for UConn will be 16-14 Creighton in the semifinals. They won today's second quarter of that Big East tournament. A 57-44 triumph over Marquette in that one. That's what happened in there. The 2 night quarterfinals, Providence will take on Villanova, and then St. John's against Seton Hall. Hold that thought. All right, had to take care of something there, and now we're ready to rock and roll again. So we gave you the score of the Big East Women's Tournament. Let's follow other women's tournaments here. In the Big Ten, UCLA, the top seed, into the final, looking to win that for the second straight year. 72-62, they hold off a game effort from Ohio State. In the second semifinal, it's Iowa leading Michigan 28-22 at intermission. In that one, the 9th and 8th ranked teams in the country. Of course, the second SEC semifinal later tonight, Ole Miss takes on Texas. At the Big 12, Kansas State, the Cinderella team, they led at the half against 10th ranked TCU. Horned Frogs, though, have rallied. 8:19 to go. It's a 58-53 lead for TCU in that one. Well, later tonight, Colorado plays number 15 West Virginia in the other semifinal. ACC championship game is set. The top 2 seeds advance to the final. 13th ranked Duke with a great defensive stand at the end. Saw off Notre Dame 65-63. The Dukies get 12th ranked Louisville in the title. They beat number 16 North Carolina 65-57. That was the final in that one. In the MAAC women's tournament, we had 2 quarterfinals yesterday. The other 2 quarterfinals were today. It was Iona 59, Siena 50. And Merrimack advanced with a 62-48 win over Mount St. Mary's. At the A10 semifinals, the championship game is set there. It'll be George Mason versus Rhode Island. The Rams grinded out a 55-46 win for Davidson. George Mason beat Richmond 60-45. Richmond faces a nervy week at 26-7, a bubble team. Are they going to get in? That remains to be seen. Mountain West women's tournament got underway today. 4 first-round games, 1 in the books. It was Air Force 60, Wyoming 53. 3 more games later tonight. San Jose State versus Boise State. Nevada against Fresno State. And Utah State against Grand Canyon. In the Fun Belt in Pensacola, South Alabama, they've been a crazy team to follow, but their run came to an end today with a 79-54 loss to James Madison. The other game, a minute 49 to go, Arkansas State leads ULM 72-65. Arkansas State, of course, the defending champions of that tournament. West Coast Conference, 1 game in the books. It was Portland 72, Washington State 62. The second game starts momentarily between San Francisco and Pepperdine. Big South women's semifinals are later today. Winthrop takes on High Point, and Longwood versus Radford. That will be your semifinal that's your semifinal matchup in that tournament. At the A-Sun women's semifinals, it was Austin Peay 68, Stetson 52. They'll play Jacksonville in the championship. The Dolphins eliminated Central Arkansas 67-58. Jacksonville winning its 23rd game of the season in the process. Starch Madness, that's what they call the Big Sky men's and women's tournaments in Boise. That got started today. Weber State took the first game, beating Portland State 76-53. The second game of the day is in the third quarter. Northern Arizona leading Montana 31-29. That's the score in that tournament. Let's see what else is happening. I know there are other women's tournaments going on. Of course, as we speak right now, a bid is about to be handed out. The first automatic bid of the women's tournament being handed out right now in Evansville, Indiana. 4 minutes, 37 seconds to go in the Ohio Valley Championship. Western Illinois leads Lindenwood 59-58. So the OVC automatic bid up for grabs, and the Leathernecks looking good. First round of the Patriot League tournament, Boston beat American 69-58, and it's Colgate 50, Bucknell 45 with 2.5 minutes to play in that one. In the Summit League, North Dakota State's amazing year continued. They go to 28-3 by beating St. Thomas 63-51, and South Dakota State, it's March. Aaron Johnson's Jackrabbits usually show up at the Summit League Championship about then. 24 from Brooklyn Meyer. They're in the title again, beating South Dakota 74-59. NDSU and SDSU in that Summit League Championship. That should be a really, really good game. Now to men's college basketball. Men's basketball regular season finale. Let's start before we go to the tournaments. Let's go to the top 25 in progress. Number 5, Florida leads Kentucky 53-38. Again, these are all men's scores now. Good one in the Big Ten with 15:22 to go. It's Wisconsin leading 15th ranked Purdue 61-60. George Mason hammering 25th ranked St. Louis 64-39 with 9:57 to go. Coming up in about an hour, number 17 North Carolina without Caleb Wilson for the rest of the year now, of course, takes on top-ranked Duke. Also later tonight, it's Auburn at number 16 Alabama, number 10 Texas Tech at BYU, and number 2 Arizona at Colorado. Earlier today, Dan Hurley got ejected in the final seconds as fourth-ranked UConn fell at 11-19 Marquette, 68-62, a loss that perhaps cost the men Huskies a number 1 seed. Number 6 Iowa State was down 4 at the half to Arizona State. Cyclones then hit a stretch in the second half. They scored 24 straight points. They never looked back, turned it into a blowout, 86-65. Number 7 Houston beat Oklahoma State 82-75. Number 13 Virginia held off Virginia Tech 76-72. 14th ranked Kansas ended the regular season at 22-9. They hit the century mark in a 104-85 romp of Kansas State. Number 20 Arkansas, without Darius Acuff, goes on the road and beats Missouri in overtime 88-84. Louisville wins at number 22 Miami 92-89. Number 24 Vanderbilt beat number 23 Tennessee 86-82. Men's tournament action, of course, in the Northeast Conference. It was semifinal day, but a bid was clinched. Mercyhurst, who's still in the transition phase, won the earlier semifinal over Stonehill 56-51. That meant that the second semifinal between Wagner and LIU would determine who gets the automatic bid. It's going to be Rod Strickland Sharks, who go dancing at 23-10. They're the first team in the dance. The field of 68 on the men's side. They get 13 points and 13 rebounds from Shadrach Lasso, 64-56. The first championship game is tonight at 9 o'clock. The Ohio Valley Championship. Morehead State, part of the establishment, against the Tennessee State team that hasn't been since 1994 and is coached by former Duke player Nolan Smith. Other men's tournament action tonight. West Coast Conference third round. Portland meets San Francisco and Seattle against Pacific. At the Big South semifinals, the top 2 seeds are into the championship after close wins. Top seed High Point got 25-12 from Terry Anderson. They beat UNC Asheville 75-71 despite 30 points from Toyaz Solomon. Winthrop held off a game Presbyterian team 73-71. 29-4 Panthers, 23-10 Eagles for the Big South's auto bid tomorrow in Johnson City. Sunbelt Tournament later tonight. Southern Miss App State. Georgia Southern against Coastal Carolina. Missouri Valley, Arch Madness. UIC's in the final. They beat Drake 72-51. Northern Iowa and Bradley will contest the second semifinal. Quarterfinal Saturday at the SoCon. The top 2 seeds were in action. The top seed won. East Tennessee State beat the Citadel 83-76. The 2 seed is out. Wofford fell to UNCG 75-72. Later tonight, Furman meets Sanford, and Western Carolina will take on Mercer. MAAC quarters tonight. Marist against Quinnipiac and Mount St. Mary's will take on Siena. Summit League semifinals tonight. Omaha, North Dakota State. North Dakota versus St. Thomas. Big Sky men's tournament gets underway tonight. Northern Arizona against Idaho State. And Sacramento State will take on Idaho. CAA second round. Campbell beat Stony Brook 96-89. Stony Brook got 35 from Andre Shoskish. Drexel 84-77 over Northeastern. The night games are Hampton Towson and Elon against William and Mary. ASUN tournament in Jacksonville. Central Arkansas leads Florida Gulf Coast 31-25 late in the first half. Queens plays Austin Peay in the other semifinal. So there you go. We'll back in just a few moments with the second half of this women's game. Told you we'd be back in a few seconds. South Carolina trailing at halftime in the SEC tournament for the first time since 2019. 8 in a row they've beaten LSU. LSU trying to change that. The +9 rebound margin and a +8 points in the paint differential. For Wiley on the take. Misses the shot. Rebound. South Carolina. Here come the Gamecocks. Down by 4. Going right to left in their white uniforms. LSU left to right. Edwards missed the layup. Raven Johnson volleyballs it around to Edwards. Edwards, a little floater goes to get the second half scoring started. And it's 40-38, Louisiana State on top. Johnson Flau'jae Johnson out of bounds. Too much on that one, and it goes with LSU. Or back to South Carolina. (40-38), 8 turnovers for LSU in the first half. Edwards stripped away, and there's LSU forcing a turnover. Here's Richard. Richard lost handle of the basketball. Boy, LSU better hope those two miscues don't come back and bite them. Here is Raven Johnson. Now over to Latson. Now Tessa Johnson. Ocott now to Latson. Latson, like she led with the arm there. No foul call. Latson blocked by Fawiley. Now it's Flau'jae Johnson. 1-on-2. Needs help. She'll do it all by herself and misses the layup. Here's Tessa Johnson with a rebound. Tessa Johnson all the way. Blocked by Richard. Fawiley. Here's Williams. Corner 3. That doesn't go. It's out of bounds, and it's going to stay with LSU. Fawiley, jump shot, no good. Rebound, Ocott. South Carolina on the run. Edwards misses. Edwards got it back, put it in, and one. And Joyce Edwards with a chance to give South Carolina the lead back at the foul line. So Edwards with a chance now to give South Carolina the lead. Here is Edwards at the line. Free throw up. Good. South Carolina leads. A 41-40 lead for the Gamecocks. Richard now back to Fawiley. 8 ties, 6 lead changes. Largest lead of the game, 6 by South Carolina. Fawiley, blocked by Raven Johnson, goes out of bounds, though, and it's going to stay with the Tigers. So here's LSU with it back. Inbounds pass. Williams gets the roll, and the Tigers go back in front. Raven Johnson with it now. Latson. Ocott. No good. Rebounded by Fawiley. Up ahead now to Richard. Richard. 16 to shoot. Here's Johnson, left wing 3, in and out. Raven Johnson had the rebound briefly, then Edwards had it, and now here's Raven Johnson. Raven Johnson, LSU 1 of 11 from 3. Raven Johnson lays it in. Gamecocks back in front. One-point game. Here is Fawiley. Fawiley going to fire for 3. In and out. Rebound, South Carolina. Raven Johnson with the basketball. Tessa Johnson. Now it's Edwards. Here's Oak out of the right block. Tessa for 3. In and out. Joyner with a rebound. Richard has it. Now Flau'jae Johnson of the left wing for LSU. Still 20 on the shot clock. Johnson trying to move. No look behind the back to Joyner. Joyner puts it up. Missed the bunny. Rebounded Edwards. Now South Carolina up the floor. Gamecocks up a point. Raven Johnson with it. 11 to shoot. Johnson now to the other Johnson. Tessa. 7 to shoot. Back to Raven. Another 3. Another make. That's her third of the game. Raven Johnson buries it, and it's a 4-point lead, 15 for Raven. Now here's Richard for LSU. For Wiley. Meanders left, into the paint. For Wiley, throws it up. No good. Rebound, South Carolina, Okot. Now here's Raven Johnson. Okot, Latson, and Edwards dribbled it out of bounds. It'll go back to LSU after the break. 5 minutes to play in the third. 46-42. South Carolina has the lead. We'll be right back in just a moment. Halfway through the third quarter, 46-42, South Carolina on top. In the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament, winner to the championship tomorrow afternoon to play either Ole Miss or Texas. They'll play the second semifinal later tonight. Malaysia Fawali with 15 points. Raven Johnson also with 15 points. As the Gamecocks have the lead by a 3 spot. Here is Richard. Over to Fawali. Fawali now meanders to the right side. Gives it up to Williams. Now Fawali. Here's Richard. Back to Fawali, top of the key, 12 to shoot. Richard fires a 3. Got it. Jada Richard knocks down the triple, and it's a 1-point game. Richard with 9. Tessa Johnson trying to fight back. No. Rebound, Okot. but a foul before that on Joyner. And so the follow-up basket will not count. Tim Mulkey says, what are you doing that for? As her arms outstretched. Staley also none pleased with the officials. What did I say earlier? The officials might have their work cut out for them. Foul was on Knox, her second. Catch and shoot from Ocott is no good. And a scramble on the deck for the loose ball. If it's a tie-up, the arrow favors South Carolina, and that is indeed, I believe, what they have called. Yes. Gamecock basketball. By the way, LTCU did defeat Kansas State by a dozen, so a great run for the Wildcats this week, but it's over. Frogs will play for another Big 12 Tournament Championship tomorrow. Raven Johnson trying to get it inbounded. Here's Edwards. Now Raven Johnson. Ocott to Raven Johnson, who lays it in. South Carolina up by 3. Raven Johnson with 17. Williams. Richard. Pass picked off. Raven Johnson up the floor. Finds a trailing Tessa Johnson. High arcing 3. Too strong. Rebounded by Williams. Oh, what a steal by Tessa Johnson. Johnson out of Wiley throws it up as she got hit, and it's a foul. Holy cow. You talk about perfectly reading a pass and getting in the passing lane at the right time. Tessa Johnson did just that. Holy cow. So here is Tessa Johnson at the free throw line. First free throw, rims out. Second free throw, good, and a 4-point South Carolina lead. For Wiley now up the court. For Wiley. For Wiley on the move. Kicks it out. Richard for 3. In and out. And who touched it last? South Carolina did, so it stays with LSU. Much to Don Staley's chagrin. South Carolina SID is, somebody there is telling the coach, hey, you might want to challenge that. Now that's a first, the SID suggesting a challenge. I knew SIDs were rock stars and could do everything. I didn't know they could do that. Interesting call there. South Carolina with a 49-45 lead. 3:31 to play in the third. Update from that Ohio Valley Championship. Looks as if it's going to be Western Illinois, the first one to go dancing. 20 seconds to go. And they lead 69-63. Looks as if it'll be Western Illinois heading for the tournament for just the third time ever. 1995 and 2017. The other times that the Leathernecks have been, they were a 14 seed each of those years. Who knows what seed they'll be this year, but the ladies from Western Illinois with the first into the field of 68. Again, the first men's ticket was punched earlier today because of the Northeast Conference's tournament and the NCAA rules, because it was sealed in a semifinal between LIU and Wagner. LIU winning. Mercyhurst, a transitional team, beat Stonehill in the championship in the semifinal and got to the final. That meant the other semifinal was the championship game in essence. And do not get me started on how ridiculous I think that is. What a game this one's been, though. 3:31 to go in the third. And 49-45 is the lead for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Trying to beat LSU yet again. And so the South Carolina Coach's Appeal, let's see. That was Hudson Jacobs, the director of Women's Basketball Video Services. So not the SID, but still. How about shout out to the support staff people. They keep this thing running. They never get any credit. And by golly, he's the one that told Don Staley, hey, you need to appeal this. If he wins this challenge, if South Carolina wins this appeal, he better get a raise. Don Staley gave him a high five. I think they won the appeal. They did. Give that man a raise, Jeremiah Donati. Or whoever writes the check. Give him a freaking raise. Here's Raven Johnson on the left wing. Here is Edwards. Edwards kicks it out. Raven Johnson lost it. Then gets it back. Now McDaniel on the right wing. Raven Johnson. 4 to shoot. Kick out. McDaniel straight away. Book it. The lead up to 7 for South Carolina. Maddie McDaniel knocks it down. 6-3 of the game for the Gamecocks. For Wiley, Richard, they need an answer from somebody and quickly. Johnson, Richard, there's an answer. 3 ball to get it to within 4. Jada Richard knocks it down. (52-48). Here's South Carolina up the floor. Raven Johnson has it now at the top of the key. Okai, now McDaniel. McDaniel, runner, left it short. Okot the rebound. Okot also missed. Loose ball. Save. Johnson. Raven Johnson 3. Ho! Raven's got another. 20 for Raven Johnson. Here's Richard. Now to Flau'jae Johnson. LSU struggling here. Joyner lost it. Foul. Raven Johnson with it on the right wing. In the lane, it's Okot, and it is no good. Richard. Euro step. Richard scores. 5-point game as we near a minute to play in this third quarter. Now McDaniel dribbling the basketball. Okot now back to Tessa Johnson. Tessa Johnson now back to Edwards. Edwards now needs help. Gets it in the form of Tessa Johnson. Her jumper good. The midi goes. As we are now under a minute to play in the third. 11 for Tessa Johnson. Here's for Wiley. 2-pointer good. Boy, it's been a while since she scored, it feels like. For Wiley hits that one. 17 for her. It's a 5-point game. .33 seconds to go. A 5-point South Carolina lead. Left wing McDaniel. Okot for 3. Not the one that Don Staley wanted to take that shot. Knocks the rebound to Fawiley. Shot clock off. Fawiley doesn't need to rush, but she goes inside and scores anyway. 3-point game. Now South Carolina can hold for the last shot. See, I would have held it out a little bit longer there. 4 seconds left. Here's Raven Johnson on a drive. Raven Johnson beats the third quarter buzzer. She had 19 and 3 threes in the February game. She has a career-high 22 with 4 threes after 3 quarters in this one. And South Carolina's domination of LSU takes a big step towards continuing. Carolina by 5, heading to the money quarter. We'll be right back. Quarter, 5-point South Carolina lead. And pass too strong for Williams, and LSU turns it over to start the fourth quarter. Raven Johnson, 139 wins, third in history behind only Bree Hall at 140 and Victoria Saxton at 151. Here's Edwards, nearly a turnover. Edwards fights and doesn't get it to go. Latson, though, on the follow, puts it back. And the lead now at 7 for the Gamecocks. Here's Richard. Her jumper way off the mark. Ball bounces out of bounds, and it's now getting late early for LSU. Is it slipping away from them again against the Garnet and Black? Tessa Johnson now to Joyce Edwards. Now Latson. Latson, no. Inside, missed it. Here's Williams with a rebound. LSU's got to come up with more stops. They've also got to come up with some buckets here in the final minute, in the final quarter. Williams really lost. They need to find the style they had in the fourth quarter yesterday against Oklahoma. Knox, no. Joyner, yes. 5-point lead for South Carolina. Tessa Johnson, her three. Short. It felt a bit rushed. Joyner with a rebound. Gives it to Richard. Richard, here's Knox ahead of the pack. Lays it in. And in the blink of an eye, it's a 3-point game. Grace Knox with the layup. 3-point South Carolina lead. McDaniel. Latson. McDaniel. Knox went for the steal, poked it out of bounds, and it'll stay with South Carolina. 11 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Raven Johnson to inbound. Edwards now back to Raven Johnson. Shot clock at 6. Raven Johnson with 4. Bounce pass. Okot. Missed the layup. Knox got the rebound. Here's Fawiley. Euro step. Fawiley scores. 1-point game. Oh, here we go. Edwards, top of the key. Back to Latson. Still 16 on the timer. Latson. Edwards. No. Foul underneath. It's going to go on for Wiley. Well, Malaysia for Wiley. $21 from Fawiley. First free throw is good for Edwards. Second free throw also good. A 3-point lead for the Gamecocks. Edwards with 10. Here's Fawiley now up the floor. Fawiley on the right wing. Here's Fawiley for 3. Oh, you betcha! Malaysia Fawiley ties the game at 63. Raven Johnson for South Carolina now. Now it's Latson. Left block. Latson to Edwards. Edwards inside. Edwards scores. It's South Carolina back on top. Here's Richard. Now Williams on the left wing. Williams. Mid-range shot. In and out. Rebound Tessa Johnson. Now here's Raven Johnson. Back to Tessa Johnson. Follow-away jump shot is no good. The rebound, Okot. Okot back to Latson. And a foul and a violation committed, and it's going to go back to LSU. But Malaysia for Wiley. Win or lose has had quite an afternoon or early evening in Greenville. And 6:10 to go. A 2-point lead for the Gamecocks. We'll be back in just a moment. .6:10 to play in the SEC semifinal. South Carolina, the top seed, leads the 4th seed, Louisiana State, 65-63. Both these teams heading, obviously, for the NCAA tournament. South Carolina, win or lose, a number 1 seed. LSU, number 2 seed at worst, but a win today and a win tomorrow, and maybe the Tigers get into the mix for a number 1 seed. Many people think if it's an LSU-Texas championship game, that would be for the last number 1 seed. With South Carolina, UCLA, and UConn already locked into the other 3. Here's Williams. Drives. No. Rebounded by Tessa Johnson. Here's Raven Johnson for South Carolina. Now Okot. Okot's jumper. Good. 4-point game, 5:40 to play. Medina Okot, just 4 points, but she's been solid on the glass. She's grabbed 12 boards. For Wiley. Kick out. Williams all alone for 3. A little too strong and a little wide. Raven Johnson has it for South Carolina. Edwards, floater. Good. Gamecocks have built the lead back up to a half dozen. Here is Knox. Richard straightaway 3. That one's good. Just what the doctor ordered, and now a quick timeout, presumably taken by LSU, and indeed it was. What a big-time triple, though, by Jada Richard. .69-66. We teased this when we signed on. We teased this as the semifinal that felt like a final. Well, it's living into that hype right now, that's for sure. So play resumes now. 3-point game. Latson a strong takeoff glass. 5-point South Carolina lead. Now Richard to the left wing. Richard. Now Joyner. Joyner on a drive. Joyner rejected by Edwards. Kim Mulkey wanted a foul, didn't get it. She is incensed. Raven Johnson now holds the basketball. South Carolina up by a 5 spot. Raven Johnson left wing. Latson, big three if it goes. Doesn't. Richard up ahead to Wiley now. And here's Wiley. Oh, Spinorama. Oh, block, but Knox with the follow. Missed what would have been a big and one. She'll still go to the line for 2. But man, if Grace Knox had made that, she'd be going to the line with a chance to make it a 2-point game. LSU in the huddle. All kinds of fired up. In fact, it looked like another teammate fight. Michaela Williams involved with Flau'jae Johnson this time. Second free throw, good. 71-67, 3:49 4-point game. Here's another wild shot off balance. No, but a foul. And it will send Tania Latson to the free throw line. First free throw, good. Second free throw, also good. Richard. Richard with it. Now Knox. Knox. No good. Rebound. South Carolina. Raven Johnson. And Johnson now will dribble some clock. 12 seconds. And a bad pass from Johnson off of Edwards. And now Flau'jae Johnson, who has been on the bench, is now back in. Interesting that she was on the bench. And I know 6 points, 1 of 8 shooting, but you got to ride the hot. You got to ride your senior. In a big spot like this, 6-point game, 3 minutes to go. Joyner, turnover. South Carolina with it. Latson one-on-one, missed the layup. Edwards the rebound and puts it in. 8-point game. South Carolina starting to sense another triumph over the Bayou Bengals now. 16 for Edwards. For Wiley. Kicks it back out. Williams for 3. Got it. Boy, they needed that. And a quick LSU timeout. 2:24 to go. A 5-point lead for South Carolina. Trying to make another SEC championship game. Trying to make the championship Sunday for the 7th straight year. And trying to win it for the 6th time in 7 years. And the 7th and 8th, the 9. January of 2012. $75-70 the lead for South Carolina's now Mulkey and Staley. Three timeouts left for South Carolina, 1 for LSU. Fouls to give, 2 for LSU, and 3 for the Gamecocks. Still 2:24 to play. Kim Mulkey, none pleased. About something. I don't know. I'm sure there's something. But anyway, here's Raven Johnson on the left wing. Can LSU put the clamps down defensively? Edwards. Not this possession. A lay-in for Edwards. 7-point game. 18. 2 big buckets here in the 4th from Edwards. For Wiley inside. Knox. And 2 for Grace Knox. We're under 2 minutes to play. Lead is at 5 for South Carolina. Raven Johnson with the basketball now. Raven Johnson, the foul line, bounce pass, found the cutting Latson for 2 more, and South Carolina back up by 7, and it looks a long way back for LSU now. For Wiley, picked off by Johnson. And now South Carolina can sense the clock. Under a minute to go. And jump shot no good. LSU running out of time. Williams drives, no, but a foul, and so she'll go to the line. 45 seconds to go. First free throw good by Williams. Second free throw is also good as I clicked off a keep the score like an idiot. Both free throws good, and it's now 79-74 with 45 seconds left. So South Carolina with the inbounds pass. Here's Raven Johnson on the right wing. Long pass, Latson. 20 to shoot. Here's Raven Johnson. 15 to shoot. It's Okai. Now Raven Johnson, 10 to shoot. South Carolina just milking this clock. LSU defending like crazy and in a straitjacket. A timeout taken by Don Staley's team. So a 5-point game. LSU, if this holds, will fall to 27-5. A number 2 seed without question for the tournament. South Carolina locked into a number 1. They will chase a 10th SEC tournament championship tomorrow afternoon. Chance to pull within 7 of Tennessee, who still has the record by 17. $79.74. So 22 seconds left. Raven Johnson to inbound for South Carolina. Okot trying to dribble out. Here is Okot. Lays it in to beat the shot clock. There's your dagger from Medina Okot. For Wiley, Williams fires. Got a 3 with 8 seconds left. And LSU will take a timeout. Dawn Staley is incensed. That should tell you about how her team operates. But it's another win in this series for South Carolina. So 8.9 seconds, the official time now they've put on the screen. They've put on the clock here. South Carolina with this raucous support, this crowd that they love their team. People around that park have said during other seasons, during the many times they've wandered in the wilderness of football, saying if you could just give this team a consistent winner in anything, they would show up and be supportive. Well, baseball team proved that, and now this women's basketball team, they have rallied behind it. A women's basketball team that really didn't have it. We mentioned it yesterday on the Kentucky Watchalong, a team that really didn't have much of anything prior to Dawn Staley's arrival, but she has turned South Carolina from worse than an afterthought to, you would have to say, in the last decade or so, they're no worse than the second most premier program in this sport. UConn at number 1, then South Carolina right behind. Raven Johnson the inbound. And here's Latson. And they'll rub it in with that one. Boy, that felt a little personal perhaps. Who knows? 4 seconds. Here's for Wiley. 3 at the buzzer is an air ball, and that's it. The more things change, the more they stay the same. The victory can change. The outcome doesn't. South Carolina 19 times in a row, they've now beaten LSU, and for the 7th straight year, they're into the SEC championship game. They'll go for a 10th title tomorrow afternoon. against either Ole Miss or Texas. A fun game throughout. LSU did all they could, but South Carolina gets the job done. Their 31st win of the year takes them to the SEC championship game. They beat LSU by a final of 83-77. Thanks to everybody for tuning into this watch along. We had some decent numbers. Glad you enjoyed it. We'll see you for another one here real soon. We thank you for watching this women's college basketball watch along.